everyone, I am Audrey. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is one of my podcast style videos, which is a playlist I have on my YouTube. I don't have a real podcast, but one day I definitely want to have a real podcast where I would post longer, more researched episodes. But today's video is talking about the topic of going to college and being nervous, being homesick, and just good reminders, affirmations to listen to when you get anxious or getting nervous or homesick. And this is very close to home for me because in 1 week I'm leaving the college. I've been nervous about it for a while and I know I'm going to be so homesick. So these are good reminders for me as well. So you can always come back and listen to this when you're feeling anxious or nervous. But also if you're not going through like going to college, maybe you're going off to live alone, living in a new city alone, finding a new job. These are good reminders for that as well. And at the end, we're going to say some affirmations. I've also listened to other podcasts and parents that I know talk about this topic. So I feel like I've kind of gathered like different tips from people and just advice that I can incorporate into this episode. First thing being that everyone is going through the same thing. I know that some people will be more homesick than others. I'm personally a really big homebody, but essentially everyone's leaving home. Everyone's leaving their parents, their friends at home, their hometown, and it's scary for everyone. And if anything, that is so comforting to know that all these people are going through the same thing and you can be in it together. Honestly, I think that's why friendships grow so close in college, because you're going through the same things and you're learning and experiencing things together. So just know you're not alone. And I don't mean you're not alone like just in your school or just in your dorm. You're not alone like in the whole world. Every person your age is pretty much going through the same thing. And what's so important to remember, which is like my second tip, is that at the end of the day, it is temporary. At the end of the day, this is just 1 year out of your life living in this dorm. And hopefully, you do have Christmas break and you do have spring break. But essentially, it's temporary. And like everything, it's temporary. So I know in the moment, it may seem like it's gonna last forever and it's just so stressful and you don't like this new way of living. But in the end, it is temporary. I have to keep on reminding myself the longer I'm there, the more it will feel like my home, the more it will feel recognizable, the more I'll have a routine. At the very start, it might feel long and sad because your dorm doesn't yet feel like a home and you're not used to the schedule, so everything feels so long. But once you get in a routine, you get in a schedule, you've been in your dorm for a while, it's going to start feeling more like home. You're going to be more in your routine. Time will go by faster. You'll find things to look forward to. You'll find your favorite restaurants to go eat at, your favorite meals. So I really think like the beginning is going to be the hardest, but everything is temporary. You have to keep on reminding yourself of that. So as a little affirmation, you can say this is temporary. This isn't forever. This isn't indefinite. And make a little list of your own little reminders to look at when you're anxious. Just remembering, okay, I'm okay. This is just for now. The third thing that you need to remind yourself of is that you are in the right place. This is where you're supposed to be. You made the decision to go to this college. You're going to college. You're getting your education. You're working towards your future career. This is where you're supposed to be and everything is going to work out. So I know it might seem really stressful. It's growth. Essentially, this is the point in life I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be going out and growing. I'm supposed to be learning to live by myself. So I know it's really stressful, but it's where you're supposed to be and you have to trust that. You have to find comfort that everything is going to be okay and everything is going to work out. Another thing I feel like could be super helpful is always having a date that you're going to see your family, or maybe you're going to see friends from your hometown, or that you're going to fly home. This is so you never really have a super long stretch without seeing someone. You can always be like, 1 month, I'm going to see them. And I feel like 1 month is a really good thing. So every month you have something to look forward to. So I have August, and then I have my sister coming in September, and my family hopefully coming in October. So I'm super excited because I do have plans to see my family in September, October, November, and then winter break is in December. And I definitely feel like the longest stretch probably going to be that first month. But I feel like once I get into November, I can really look forward to like my family coming for Thanksgiving and soon after that coming home for Christmas. I think another important thing is like the first semester is probably going to be the hardest to get through. First semesters always just feel like so long because everything is new. And I'm not sure if you've heard this before, but the reason that time goes by quicker as you get older is because you're not doing as many new things. The first 10 years of your life, you learn to walk, you learn to talk, you go to school. Anyways, so we do so much in our first 10 years of life. It goes by so much slower than maybe your next 10 years from 10 to 20. And that's because you're not doing as many new things. The older you get, the faster time goes by. And just a little tip for that is if you do feel like that and you do feel like time is going by really quickly, sign up for new dance classes, sign up for workout classes, try new things, try new recipes, try new hobbies, and time won't fly by as fast. I feel like it's the same thing with college. Like first semester, everything's going to be new. You're going to be getting in the groove. But second semester, you'll be more like, okay, I know how this works. I've done it before. And then before you know it, honestly, it'll be summer. So I know it's so scary. And trust me, I am scared. And I assume if you're listening to this, it's probably because you are feeling a little anxious about moving away to college. But remember, you are not alone. Everything is temporary. And it's probably going to be the hardest at first. What I heard my sister's friend's mom tell me was that the anticipation a couple days before was worse than actually being there. Because yeah, it's really scary being in my room knowing I won't be here for like months. But that anticipation is scary. But once you get there, you're there. Every day, I don't say wish away the time because you want to enjoy while you're there. But every day you are there is a day closer to getting home, which I don't want to say you should have that mindset. You should be happy about being there. But essentially, if that helps you, like it is a step closer every day. But I think the more time you're there, the more comfortable you might feel and you won't feel as strongly about wanting to get home. So I don't know if that makes sense. The next thing I think that's super important is keeping things in your routine that are familiar and like safe. So for example, this means like rewatching your favorite comfort shows or bringing snacks or food that remind you of home, eating meals that your mom would make at home, or for example, using like the same shampoo, conditioner, lotion, deodorant. I feel like scents are such a big thing. So if I have a scent that reminds me of home, it'll just make me feel more at home. If you incorporate all these things that you had in your routine at home that you're used to, it will make it feel more like home and it will feel more familiar and less scary. So I think that's just something super important to keep in mind. Also, if you want to feel closer to your family, you can be like, oh, what are you having for dinner tonight? Like, I'm gonna have that too. Or what movie are you watching? Like, I'm gonna watch that tonight so we can talk about it tomorrow. And know that we live in a time and age where FaceTime and phone calls are available, which I'm so grateful for, because when my mom went to college, like yes, she could call her dad on the phone, but they couldn't FaceTime. They couldn't see each other's faces. It's not like your family's gonna forget your face, forget what you look like. Know that they can always be a dial away. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is just reconnecting with nature and taking walks. And if you're living in a city and not like around nature, it's still like the real world. Getting outside and connecting with the world, I feel like is just important. And sometimes when I'm on mental health walks, sometimes I'll get so wrapped up in my head that they end up being the opposite of mental health walks, end up just spiraling and overthinking and freaking myself out. But I think that on these walks, you have to focus on being mindful, focus on the things around you. So that doesn't happen. Focus on your senses, where you're walking, what it sounds like, the scents. Maybe a restaurant's cooking up something really delicious. Maybe you hear people giggling on the street. Focusing on that and kind of reconnecting with the real world and getting out of your head can be really beneficial. Also, like taking walks in the morning. It is proven that getting sun on your face around like 7:30 maybe kind of resets your circadian rhythm, which promotes alertness and better sleep later in the day. This is a topic I would talk about on my podcast. I would do like a ton of research on the circadian rhythm. But yeah, the circadian rhythm, I think it's like this internal clock. And when you get sun, it like releases melatonin that like resets the clock. My main point of that was just getting out and getting sun on your face, especially early in the morning. I know for me personally, I get sad and homesick come nightfall, and come afternoon, I get to bed earlier. That means waking up early and I can kind of enjoy the daytime and not be up homesick in the night, if you know what I mean. Now, the next tip I have is to have a list of things that you know personally helps your mental health. For example, a walk, working out, crafting, getting off your phone. I know personally me, I always feel better when I do a craft like a coloring page or making bracelets or working on my nails. So just remember those things that make you feel like you, that are good for your mental health, and make a list of them so you can look back at it whenever you're feeling anxious and do one of those things. If you're ever getting too wrapped up in your head, listening to a podcast is super helpful. I feel like that's honestly so good to kind of get your mind off of things. And also, I feel like the best thing I can do for my mental health is always just call my family. Now, the next thing I want to say is that I'm used to getting my hugs from my family, and it's scientifically proven hugs actually are really good for your mental health. I think it's something like human to be happy needs like 7 hugs a day. I'm not sure if that's true. If you find like a friend who loves to hug, honestly, that could be so beneficial for your mental health without you even knowing, or just having like a stuffed animal, a stuffy. And what I kind of want to leave off with on this video, I know it was a shorter one. If I made podcast, I would want them to be longer. I'm actually going out to brunch. I'm gonna get coffee and a sandwich. I think I might vlog my last week at home before college. I'm not sure because I'm trying to be present, but I might vlog it for memory purposes. But my last tip before we go into affirmations that I want to leave off with is whenever you start to feel sad, think about all the things that you have to be grateful for and really practice gratitude. You can do this by journaling, by saying in your head. I think it's so important to realize what a blessing it is that you're able to go in school, that you have a dorm, that you have a place to live. Be grateful for your health, your education. If your biggest problem is being homesick, which I know is so sad, and trust me, I get it, that's a pretty good problem to have. That just means you have a home that you love to go back to. So every day that you are alive and healthy and have your family, honestly, is a day to be alive. You just have to enjoy every second of it. College, it'll probably go by so fast. You just have to enjoy every minute of it and be grateful for every second you're there. In the end, it is temporary. This is not indefinite. I want to end off with some affirmations. So I'm going to say the affirmation and you're going to repeat it back if you like. I am right where I am supposed to be. I am growing and learning. I am mentally strong. This is temporary. Everything will work out. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. I really hope in college I'm just vlogging a lot so I can document it for my future children and for my family to look at. So yeah, there's going to be some college content. Stay tuned for that and for getting back to school. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have an amazing day. I hope you have an amazing first semester at college. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye!